Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought provoking conversations. Amidst the poll heat and the discussions on voting, people had forgotten about a very important question, and that was, why did Prime Minister Modi visit Israel just 3 days before the Iran war? There were lots of discussions at that time. Then the war ensued, people forgot, and then came the West Bengal and the Puducherry and the Tamil Nadu and the Assam elections. But once again, this debate and the discussion has got reignited because of a tweet, because of a column which has been written by former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's media advisor and policy analyst Sanjay Baru. Now, I'm going to show you what Sanjay Baru has written. I'm going to show you that clip, what he had written, and this is a portion of it, what I'm just reading it out for you. My sources tell me that Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu had similarly assured Prime Minister Modi that the US and Israel would topple the regime in Tehran and take charge within 4 days. That, I was told, might explain India's silence on the US Israel attack on Tehran and the assassination of Iran's top leadership for 5 days. It was only on the fifth day that New Delhi realized that the regime in Tehran was still in control and in charge despite the killing of its top leadership. This conflict could drag on for much longer than what either side had bargained for. This is written by Sanjay Baru, and this portion is tweeted by Sushant Singh, the strategic expert. And I'm going to show you what in the tweet he has written. He has said that Sanjay Baru puts out what has been spoken of in hushed tones in Delhi. Modi trusted Bibi's claim that the Iranian regime will be finished for good with Israeli strikes, and India thus planned its policy on Iran, waiting for the next government to take power in Tehran. So this brings us back to the question that, did Prime Minister Modi know about the attacks on Iran? Did Netanyahu actually share this information with Prime Minister Modi? And then the next question is, if Prime Minister Modi knew about it, why didn't he alert Iran? Because the relationship between India and Iran is not an ordinary relationship. It has a strategic tie, it has an economic tie, it has a cultural tie, and we were the best of friends. So why did Prime Minister Modi do this betrayal? That is a very crucial question. And beyond this, we are also surrendering ourselves before America. And the biggest example of that is a story which I'm going to put out, and I'm going to play out Defense Minister Rajnath Singh's bite. Now, I'll just tell you a little detail about what the story is. And the story is that Defense Minister Rajnath Singh gave allegedly a shameful clean chit to Pakistan while he was speaking at the SCO meeting in Bishkek. And and Congress has reacted very sharply, saying that this was an anti-national comment, because Rajnath Singh was heard saying that terrorism has no country, and which is why people said that he apparently is ending up giving a clean chit to Pakistan. I want you to listen to this bite of Rajnath Singh, what he actually said at the SCO summit.
इसकी निरंतरता बनी रहे। हमें यह नहीं भूलना चाहिए कि आतंकवाद का न कोई देश होता है और न कोई धर्म। टेररिज्म और इनोसेंट ह्यूमैनिटेरियन लॉस के लिए कोई भी वजह, चाहे वह वास्तविक हो या काल्पनिक, जायज नहीं है। एक्सेलेंसी, इस संदर्भ में यह
So you heard what Rajnath Singh said, and Jairam Ramesh, in fact, shared this video clip of Rajnath Singh speaking at Bishkek, and he said that we must not forget that terrorism has no nationality and no theology, no grievance, real or supposed, can become an excuse for terrorism and humanitarian loss. This is what exactly he said. And Jairam Ramesh, in his tweet, said that yesterday the defense minister, obviously with the approval of and at the instance of Prime Minister, gave a shameful clean chit to Pakistan while speaking in Bishkek. Is Pakistan not the epicenter of terrorism? So if you look at both these stories, India seems to be inclined towards Israel. India seems to be surrendering towards Israel. And India is also seemingly capitulating towards America. Now, can India really mend its relationship with Iran? That is the biggest question. And what is the truth behind Modi's trip to Israel? That debate has once again got ignited. So we'll talk about both these issues. And joining me this evening is veteran journalist, columnist, and political commentator, Anand Sahay. Anand has been following all these issues very, very closely and has written about these issues a number of times on various news platforms. Thank you so much, Anand, for joining. And I'll begin with Mr. Sanjay Baru's tweet, where he has said that his sources have told him that apparently Netanyahu shared with Prime Minister Modi that he and America are going to topple the Iranian regime in 4 days. And which is why Prime Minister Modi or the Modi government kept silent for 4 days. And that was a strategic silence. What would you say to Sanjay Baru's comment?
This is a very important matter you are raising, Sanju. Neelu, sorry. The thing is this, when the war was about 1 month old, I wrote in 2 separate places and they had a similar content. And the basic content was that Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister of India, abandoned the well-known positions India has had in world affairs, which underlines India's autonomy, India's strategic autonomy. He gave that up for an open support to the United States and Israel. I'm clubbing those because you may have seen recently the British ambassador in America said that the only special relationship President Trump has is with Israel, implying it is not with Britain any longer. So that's the importance of the Israel-America nexus. By pleasing Israel, Mr. Modi also pleases America. They're both separately his very good friends. Please note that. Number two, and this is the primary thing, and I'm surprised that political opinion in India completely overlooked this, though it has been written about. On February the 6th, the attack on Iran took place on February 28. On February the 6th, President Trump passed an executive order whose background was the interim trade agreement. But in that order, he noted, now please mark the words, that this is following a conversation he had with Mr. Modi on the telephone. He wrote, Trump wrote, it's there for the record, anyone can look it up, that India has agreed to I'm quoting, to sufficiently align its national sovereignty, its foreign policy, and economic matters with the United States of America. Now, this completely encapsulates India accepting a satellite relationship with America. This happens on 6th February, the president's executive order. On February 25, the Prime Minister of India makes a visit to Israel where he addresses the Israeli parliament, the Knesset. 3 days after that, the strike on Iran begins. The question is, did he know that on that specific date, Israelis and the Americans would attack Iran? I don't think so.
Okay.
Because
you don't know what exactly Sanjay Baru is pointing out.
No, I'm not talking about what exactly Sanjay Baru is talking. Sanjay Baru is not saying that India knew the moment of attack. He is not saying that. Let's not misinterpret him. What he is saying is, from what you read out, that India was aware, according to his sources, that it will take 4 days for them, for the Israelis and the Americans, to take down the Iranian regime. And I think there Sanjay is dead right, because I have written also, based on my understanding of what the Americans were writing and talking about at the highest levels, that the whole operation will wind up in 1 week, 7 days. Now we
Yes.
have gone beyond 60 days. Now it is my impression that Mr. Modi was on board to the extent that he understood that this was only a matter of days before Iran will have a new regime that was not a clerical Shia regime, but more like something like the Shah of Iran regime, which the clerics had displaced through revolutionary action in the year 1979,
But
47 years ago.
what you're pointing out is also very, very significant, and which is why I'm interrupting you here and asking you that will India be accused, or will Prime Minister Modi be accused of horrendously miscalculating and blindly believing into what Netanyahu was saying? If Netanyahu at all told Prime Minister Modi that we will topple the regime, should we have believed completely on Netanyahu?
It's not a question of believing Netanyahu or Trump. It's a question of going along with that line of thinking.
Yes.
Is a complete somersault of India's well-known foreign policy, which has stood us in very good stead for the past 75 years. Because Mr. Modi, following the executive order of President Trump on February 6, 22 days before the attack on Iran took place, that executive order said that India has agreed. If you paraphrase it, it means to surrender its sovereignty. The words used are to align its sovereignty, sufficiently align its sovereignty. That's the exact quotation. Its national sovereignty, foreign policy, and certain economic matters, etc. That's the full sentence.
No, but would you call this as a massive betrayal by India to Iran? Would you call this as India's
It is a
betrayal?
betrayal of India to its own people, to its own long-standing, reputed foreign policy. It's a betrayal of India's own interests in the entire region. It is a betrayal of India's understanding of where its interests lie in the world. They do not lie with being in total alignment as a satellite power to aggression by the US and its watchdog Israel in that region, in complete violation of the United Nations Charter and international law. India is still not called it out. India is one country, unlike other BRICS nations like South Africa, China, Russia, etc., Brazil, which have said this is a violation of international charter, of the UN Charter and international law. We have not done so. What is more, little Sri Lanka to our south has shown us the way. When the Matalala Airport, air base in Sri Lanka, when the Americans requested Colombo, please allow our flights going to the Gulf, to Iran area, to land here, they said, no, sorry. We are a neutral country. We are not a party to the war. India did not summon that gumption, summon that resourcefulness. India completely ignored its own past, and India tried to sidle up to America and its nearest ally, Israel, in the hope, as Sanjay Baru has said, that the regime in Tehran will be toppled. He is saying 4 days, I said 7 days in my writings. And then it will all be hunky-dory for all of us. The Abraham Accords had been signed in the year 2020, 2020, in the first Trump administration, where several Gulf countries were party, along with Israel, to enter into a partnership completely overlooking the Palestine factor. Completely. It was a disaster. It was a total disaster. We signed up on that total disaster, believing, along with Trump and Netanyahu, that the regime in Tehran was a goner. 7 days on the outside, and as Mr. Baru says, 4 days according to his sources.
No, but
I do
Anand,
not
would
know
you
where his sources are.
No, but if so blindly India is believing into what Netanyahu is saying, and we are so blindly dependent on America, would we still say that this was a disastrous miscalculation on part of India, and
No,
of course Israel and America as well?
it was not a miscalculation. It was meek surrender. The
Okay.
master told us we were acting as doormen. The master told us what to do, and we did so. We went to Israel. We spoke in the parliament, and what were the ringing words of the Prime Minister of India in the parliament of Israel? That we are with you with full conviction in, I'm quoting now, in this moment and beyond, which means the regime change would have taken place. We can all have the goodies after that. You'll have the run of the place. And please give us some space there when it comes to all the building contracts and so on and so forth, Take 7 days, destroy the bloody place. And after that, let's all get into it together. And a fallout of this was in the BRICS. So I have also mentioned this in my own article that India in January this year became the chairman of BRICS for this year. Foreign ministers meeting was held only very recently.
I was in fact coming to this BRICS question, and it's a very crucial question which everybody would wonder, and which you also have written about it, that now BRICS and the SCO partners, which of course includes Russia, China, Brazil, South Africa, they are watching India's attitude very, very closely. And I'm sure they would be thinking that if India can betray a fellow BRICS member like Iran so easily for a Zionist imperialist master, then who's going to be next? How trustworthy would India be at this point of time? India is going to chair the BRICS summit sometimes in September. What is going to be the impact now?
Neelu, why look that far afield? BRICS and SCO. SCO is a different kind of outfit. It's basically anti-terrorism business which was started in Shanghai long ago. Leave that aside. What will Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Afghanistan, the Maldives, what will they be thinking about India today? Has India behaved like a responsible, trustworthy partner? Or has India proved to be as irresponsible a player on the regional stage, I'm not even saying world stage, as America has been? America has been a completely irresponsible player. Iran, I don't mention Israel, they were always very irresponsible, caring not one whit about international law, about the UN Charter. America made a pretense of doing so from time to time, not always. America is the leading irresponsible power under Mr. Trump today. And we followed in their footsteps. We bowed and scraped and agreed to accept all the terms they would impose upon us. And then we are today paying the price. The whole thing has been botched completely. The Israel aggression, right, the American aggression. And today we have nowhere to hide. And I must tell you, in the opposition camp too, there was Manish Tiwari, there was Shashi Tharoor, who was saying this was not our war. This is a war which is today engulfing, its impact is engulfing the entire world. Thoreau wrote that India has done well. You know, they didn't do posturing by talking about, breakdown of international law, etc. And Tiwari said that this is not our war. Today, the whole world is saying it's everybody's war, with the economic consequences that are flowing from it. Right? America is finding it hard to put an end to the war.
Yes.
So is Iran. Israel is going about in its usual irresponsible way as far as Lebanon goes. It has been restrained by Trump because Trump wants some kind of stoppage, but on his terms in Iran. So they've told Israel, please don't strike Iran just now. So they're going ahead striking Lebanon as and when they feel like, although there's some discussion going on with the Lebanese government, etc. Leave that aside. But I'm saying the highly irresponsible, partisan, pro-US, pro-Israel nature of India's foreign policy, which has so flagrantly come to light in the past 2 months, 2.5 months, 3 months. We are not anyone's example today.
Absolutely.
When India was a poor country, but with principles, it stood out like a beacon of light to the entire world 75 years ago, 60 years ago, 50 years ago. Today, we are a joker of the world. I'm sorry, it's strong words I'm using, but I'm so dismayed. And yet we have illusions of grandeur. Those words, those Indian language words which are picked up like, we are the teachers of the world. That kind of nonsensical formulation.
Absolutely. I think you've put it very rightly, Anand. But I'm going to also come to Raksha Mantri's comment on giving a clean chit, a supposed clean chit to Pakistan. Why do you think he used a word that terrorism has no country? Now, and then he tries to correct himself when he was lambasted on the social media, when he was trolled. Then he brings out a correction also, saying that no, we cannot pardon Pakistan. But then, if they cannot pardon Pakistan, then why did he have that kind of a meek language on the very first day? What would you say to Rajnath Singh's comment?
Do you think these are Raksha Mantri's words? That poor man doesn't know what to think. He has not grown out of his days as the BJP president of Uttar Pradesh and the Mukhyamantri of Uttar Pradesh. I'm not even saying Bhajapa national president, which he was, by the way.
Yeah.
But none of them have the gall, the initiative, or the courage, or the following among the people, among the public, to say independent words. What are those famous lines of the poet Faiz? Bol ki lab azad hai tere, bol ki ye zubaं teri apni, ab bhi teri apni hai, ab bhi apni hai. There's not one soul in that entire Modi cabinet which does not, when speaking in public, say anything but what is given to them, what is scripted. So let's not hold poor Rajnath Singh on the stake. He, like everybody else, they are nobodies. They are nobodies.
Anand, but if you're saying that was not Rajnath Singh's comment, it was a scripted line which he was reading out, then who gave him that line? Was it the MEA? I mean, the foreign minister? Did it come from PMO to tell him that, no, you have to use this kind of a language now?
You tell me, who is the chief political executive of this country? He sets every line. Have you not noticed, unlike in any other country which calls itself democratic, and unlike and like everything else by every single minister, when it's something positive, when it's something formulation for the first time, then they will say, as the Pradhan Mantri etc., has said, as we have been directed, every PIB press note is now not only in the name of the minister or the government or issued by that ministry, but the Pradhan Mantri's name has to come in. If it doesn't, God help that bloke. Heads will roll on these matters, while policy matters are not discussed, are not debated, and the entire Iran matter has been kept out of parliament. The PM made a statement one day, clarifications are not permitted, and the government of India did an all-party meeting outside of parliament, where roly-poly words were issued by the external affairs minister and the petroleum minister. Oh, we are all right, we are all right. And then in Man Ki Baat, PM Saab said, well, we are facing challenging times. Well, we indeed are. Our foreign policy is. The executors of our foreign policy have been disasters. The conception of foreign policy has been disastrous. And it's not only in this respect. Your name is mud. Among our neighbors, among our countries of the region, and of course, places like BRICS. Whatever this gentleman, the defense minister of India, Raksha Mantri, may have trotted out at the SCO forum has no meaning. Has simply no meaning.
No, but if this is the state of things, how foreign policy has to continue, my question to you, Anand, is that how long can India continue in this manner? What is the clear message which India is giving to the global south and the resistance axis? What is the kind of message which India is
Global
giving?
south or global north or east or west, India is visual. You can't touch them. If you touch them, you'll be tried under UAPA. You'll be called anti-national or urban Nakshal. You know, these jocular terms. Although when you go to jail, you'll be tried without, you'll be jailed without trial. And the Supreme Court of India will be looking upon and from time to time say some very wonderful things, which are wonderful in principle, and yet they'll give you no relief. They'll give relief only to the government of India. So that's your luck. As a citizen of this country today, the state attacks you and the courts do not protect you. They protect the state instead. And your government, your so-called elected government, and many, many reams of paper have been written to say how the government has been elected, under what circumstances. So such a government holds you guilty of being anti-national, of being seditious. So what do you say? You just suffer your fate. Or you go and revolt. So I don't know. We don't have those people anymore.
No, but if we are going to continue foreign policy in this manner, do you see India getting boycotted or Prime Minister Modi getting boycotted? Will factors...
No. Banish the thought. India is a very, very large, our people are very poor. Per capita income, India is pitiable. It is below sub-Saharan Africa, below most of our neighboring countries, by the way, in the region. But if you multiply that by 1.4 billion, we are the number 4 economy in the world. The power of the strength in numbers. When you get that, then investment will flow in. And that will not flow by giving a rebuke to India and the Indian leadership at every forum. That will not happen.
So my last question to you, Anand, is, so we are going to continue in this manner, capitulating, surrendering before Israel and America, and never are we going to raise our heads against them. Is that going to continue at least till the time Prime Minister Modi remains on the hot seat?
I think you're using quite the wrong words with insufficient emphasis. You said capitulating or surrendering. In my vocabulary, it is groveling. So yes, we'll grovel our way through the walk, and then let's see what happens. God bless India.
All right. Always a pleasure having you on the program, Anand. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.